Ok, we can start. Chiudiamo la porta o lasciamo aperta? Okay, are you okay? Can we start? Take a seat, please. Hello? Thank you. So welcome back to this new session. Let me introduce myself. I am Marcello Pellacani. Today I can wear different hats. The first of all, of course, adjunct professor here in Unimore. I teach machine learning and deep learning, so something related to AI. And actually, I'm also a platform director to another company. The name is Villanova, is a big company. And the nice things that we are doing right now is to develop a new generative AI for the Europe. We have received a huge grant, and now 50 people are working just to create a new ChatGPT compiler or something similar. So from this point of view, today we can talk not only about as a, let me say, a user or operator of generative AI, but also knowing what happens behind the scenes. What I want to share today with you and to talk with you is essentially the objective of today is to understand how AI can help supporting you in job finding, as maybe many of you or most of you in the next few years, I hope for you, will find a job. How to use generative AI or AI, simply AI, tools AI, to help you in supporting these activities. So using generative AI tools for writing a good CV or letters or interviews or whatever, helping you in finding a job, let me say, recognizing also possible ethical risk using AI, telling you about some hints on how companies use AI to elaborate, to read your CVs and maybe helping them to find the right candidate. And at the end, maybe evaluate possible problems about using AI. First of all, I would like to ask you if you have ever used ChatGPT or similar things like Copilot or Gemini or whatever you have in mind for writing your CVs. Any one of you has already tested this? Just one? Few? So few. So you are not right now in the mood or in the phase of looking for a job. But for sure, in the next few years, you need to find this. Last thing, have you ever thought about the fact that using AI is somehow cheating? Because instead of writing by yourself your CV or your letter or whatever, ask to something else to write something instead of you is a sort of cheating? Or do you believe that is not cheating? Do you have an idea on this? Have you ever thought about this? Yes, please. It's not cheating. It's a different kind of tool, okay? Any other idea? Have you ever used AI to help you in studying? To make an exam? Of course, you can't admit this. But maybe a friend of yours have ever used AI generative models to make an exam? Not you, a friend of yours? No? Okay. So this is my point of view, how AI can be used in job hunting. Of course, the main topics is job hunting. So how to find a job and to use all the possibilities, to increase the possibilities to find a good job. The first idea is that, of course, generative AI, you know what is generative AI, okay? Everyone? So it's not only ChatGPT, but all the families of LLM. Do you know what is LLM? Large language model. So something that has been instructed and tested and built to write a text. Do you know how generative AI write text? Are you interested in it? Yes or no? Okay. The idea is essentially that every large language model has learned, read a lot of text. We can say they read all the internet text that they found over internet. And then after a statistical approach, mathematical approach, and so on and on and on, they have built a model by which, writing a couple of words, the model tried to write the subsequent word just thinking about the past. For instance, if you ask to ChatGPT, I call ChatGPT, but I'm not mentioning only ChatGPT, but just to simplify, you can use Copilot or Gemini or whatever. If you write what is the capital of France, you know that the model will write Paris. But it doesn't know that Paris is the capital of the France, but he has learned and read millions and millions of documents where after the word capital, France, the third word was Paris. So this is just a guess. I have read a lot of documents where after capital, France, the word I found was Paris. So Paris is the capital of the France for an LLM, okay? So essentially an LLM, generative AI, write things adding word after words after words, okay? In a very statistical way. So first use of AI for job hunting, of course, is CV improvement. Maybe any one of you have already written your CVs as a student or a possible employee. And the idea is, the objective is to improve the quality. So you can use it to correct your language, summarize your long passages, clarify some structures, and so on. But the most important thing, that help to tailor the content to individual job description. So the most important thing is try to adapt your CV to what the people and the company are looking for. So when you applied yourself and your CV to a specific job position, the most important things that we see also in the following slides is to adapt using the same keywords, the same terms, the same language of what the company is looking for. Of course. Yes, please. Yeah, yes, we see it. Absolutely. Keep in mind your question, and in the next few slides we will see also this question. So the important thing is to play with the words. I mean, see this example. The important is to make the CVs more result-oriented. For instance, transform descriptive sentences into sentences that highlight the impact and the value. For instance, I participated in a project. It's very simple. If you write something, I contributed to a project that led to, and blah, 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 this is more relevant for someone who will read your CV, because you have not just be part of the project, but you have improved something, you helped someone else to find things, and so on and on. So it's a slightly difference, but it's very relevant for someone who will read your CV. You are not a single player, you are the player, okay? Other way to use generative AI is to write a cover letter. Do you know what is a cover letter? Yes, one yes, two yes. Anyone else? Many other, okay. A cover letter is essentially a document that comes with your CV, has a very specific purpose. I brought it to you. Maybe we can share these slides to you after this talk, to give the meaning of the CVs. So the CVs can be somehow a table or a very brief description of your activities or many other things. With a cover letter, you can describe better some stuff. So the important thing is to build a sort of narrative. So talking about yourself in a very narrative way. And this can be used to connect your experiences, because your experiences are not a simple bullet point list. It's something that can interact also altogether. Explain the reason why you did this, or you have this experience, or whatever. Show the interest of the company. Maybe we can see in a further slide to write, maybe in the next few years you will apply maybe for a master or PhD or whatever. If you want to move yourself from your country to Europe and find the right university to study for a master, for a PhD or whatever, the important thing is not only your CV, because your CV can consider it be as a standard. You are a student, you have just finished to study a course or something like that. The important thing is how to present yourself. We'll see. So the idea in a cover letter, a presentation letter, is to enhance academic experiences, the project you worked, the thesis, the exams, maybe the courses you attended, and so on. You use and amplify your experiences in Erasmus or experience like this, and transform these experiences into skills on something you can do, on abilities. The companies are interested in your skills, in your abilities, not only in what you have studied in the past. Explain, of course, your path, and show curiosity, because many of you that will study maybe in a master will be chosen also because you are demonstrating that you are curious to learn something new, curious to study, is not something mechanical, okay? It's something that you must to prove yourself to be curious and to go on. So the cover letter makes up for what the CV still fails to convey, okay? We'll see some example. Skill assessment and reflection. One of the most interesting uses, of course, is to talk about your skills. The skills are different type of what you can do. Can be something hard and can be some soft. Hard is, I have studied this and this and this. Soft is maybe you can speak in a public way. You can work with other people. You are eligible to work in a team and so on. So the important thing is to underline not only the hard skills, but also the soft skills. So there's something very hidden inside your capabilities. For instance, an Erasmus experience can be explained and can bring to you to say that you have increased your ability to adapt. Of course, you have traveled Europe. Maybe you were so young, you had to adapt it by sleeping in a bed house. A bed, I mean, not comfortable like your house where you lived. Or you have a specific intercultural communication. You have to communicate with different people in different languages, in an English not so perfect, because working with other people in Europe, they can have different level of English. And also problem solving in new context. Problem solving because I had to find a new way of transportation, or to find a way to eat every day, or similar things. Interview preparation. I don't know if you have ever thought about the interview. So essentially, when you apply your CV for a job position, after the company will read your CV, maybe if you are lucky, or better, if you have the right capabilities, you will be called to have an interview. So someone will interview you, asking you your personal information, your skills, and whatever, and also to understand who are you. So then my suggestion is to be prepared for the interview, like to be prepared for an oral exam. I don't know if you use generative AI to help yourself and to improve your abilities to speak, in an interview or in an oral exam. You can use, of course, these tools, because maybe you, and we'll see, that a lot of LLM, so ChatGPT, Gemini, and blah, 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 have also a features that is the speech mode. I don't know if you have ever used the speech mode, so talking with the generative AI and starting a sort of interactive conversation. This could be a typical use to help you in improving your capabilities in affording an interview, because you can use the right tone of voice, you can have pauses, you can receive strange question, maybe very personal question, maybe with pressure, and so on. And this will prepare you to be relaxed, calm, and try to reply in the best way, without letting you to be in a very unusual situation. Because maybe if you test all the possible situation during an interview, you start the interview in a very under control situation. So you can ask to generative AI, ChatGPT or whatever, to act as a severe recruiter, to interrupt you, because in real life, they will interrupt you, okay? They will try to make a pressure on you. They will try to be ugly and really severe, to test the capacity and the ability that you can have to face every kind of solution or problem in front of your recruiter, to ask for clarification. If you say something, maybe the recruiter can ask you to specify better, or try essentially to put you in difficulty. So essentially my idea, my suggestion is try to improve the situation on how you can behave and react in front of a possible severe recruiter. So my suggestion is to use agents. Do you know what is an agent? Not a secret agent, an agent for generative AI. So an agent is essentially a specific model that can help you in doing some things. So a sort of box, very able to do some few tasks, not some, but few tasks, something of specific. So you can build an agent using GPT, using Google Gemini, the name is Gem, using Copilot, they call agents. So you can build a sort of box asking this black box to act as something or someone, to do specific tasks, not everything, because you know, LLM can do everything, but you need to build specific mechanism to do a small amount of task. Like an agent can have a single goal, preparing you for an interview, helping you to improve your CV or whatever. Can adapt and simulate specific behaviors like a recruiter, a HR manager, or whatever. So how they work? You need to instruct your agent. So you build a sort of specific box that help you in doing few things. First of all, you need to define who is the agent. So you need to specify it or her, him or her. You are a senior recruiter in finance sector or in the bank sector or in a mechanical situation or whatever. You must ask it to remember what you said during the conversation. This is called memory. So when you talk with the person, of course, this person, the manager or the recruiter, of course, will hear you, understand you, and keep in his memory what you are saying. So maybe later in the conversation can ask something you said before. This is memory. And dynamic interaction is to adapt question and answer based on your behavior. So if I answer in this way, ask me in a bad or rough or ugly way, just to put you in under pressure. Why to use agents, for instance, to prepare you in an interview? Because this will reduce your anxiety when you will be in front of a real and human recruiter. Exactly the same where you prepare your exam to answer to the professor. Be clear in your exposition. I have a daughter, she is 20, and she talks by few words. She's very shy, but when I ask her something, she answers yes, no, and something like that. So I do believe that everyone around 20 years or like you are not so expensive. So using words to reply. Consider that this is not a good way to present yourself to a recruiter. You must talk, you must talk about your things, your hopes, your dreams, and so on, not just answering yes or no. And this is the way you can improve yourself using an agent, simulating an interview. Other thing, and then we can move to examples. AI can help you in supporting your search strategy. So can analyze job advertisement, identifying recurring words, trying the right degree of alignment between the student profile and what we are looking for, and highlight, of course, your skill gaps. So you are lack of this, you are completely okay on these other things, and so on. So the first thing is to read an advertisement and searching for job and trying to understand if is compliant or can be adapted for your skills or your intentions. Another thing can be absolutely useful is to use an agent or write a prompt, whatever you want, to search relevant job position. Because when you want to apply your CV, of course, the important thing is not to apply to a single company. Maybe you are not so lucky. The first company you will apply, you will be hired by this company. Maybe you need to send dozens of CV to different companies. And the important thing is to find the right job position for you. So you can ask generative AI to find for you, crawling the whole internet to find the job position right for you. Download the job position, adapt your CV to the search keyword. So then you are interested in a job position, you can adapt your CV using the same keywords, the same things, the same language of this job position. Create the presentation letter, and maybe send all the documents to the company. So this is a sort of assistant that can help you in doing this work. Finding the job position, adapting your CV, and sending your CV. Okay, let's move to examples. I think that most of you have already used ChatGPT, Copilot, or whatever. And this is a basic prompt, for instance, for writing a CV with AI. First of all, act as a career coach. Improve this resume for A. Then you must indicate, write the role, position in this industry. Between brackets, you must substitute the term in the brackets with the sentences that describe a role or industry, whatever. Make your language more professional and result-oriented. Highlight transferable skill, text, and then you insert your text, your CV that you have written. Is it simple for you, this? It's clear? Okay, very simple. A few things. Okay, the second one is more advanced. Act as a senior recruiter, optimize the CV to pass an ATA system. ATA system is the system that the company, HR offices in the company uses to find the right CV for the job position. We talk about this later on. Enter keywords relevant for the job description. So this is very important. Ask the system to put inside your CV the right keywords. Not inventing or making up the keywords, but to use the same keywords that the HR department has used in the job position. Because if you use the same keywords, consider that first of all, a big company will use automatic system to find the best CVs received. This is an automatic system. How works this automatic system, ATS? Just matching keywords. If you are using and proposing the same keywords as the job description, okay, you are eligible to be a good candidate. Otherwise, no interest on you. And so on. Few things on how to write a prompt. You know what is a prompt? The prompt is the way you interact with the ChatGPT, Copilot, and so on. So the question, let me say. The first important thing is to clarify and to define your objective. For instance, improve my CV. So the objective of this prompt is I want to have, at the end of the process, a better CV than the one I wrote by myself. Okay? How? Optimize the CV for data analyst position. Make your CV for more effective for ATS. ATS is the system that it is used from the company to find the best candidates. Adapted CV for application in banking or whatever. Again, using the right keywords and so on. Ask the AI to assume a role. So act as a senior recruiter in fintech sector, or act as an international career coach, okay? Ask the system to act as. Because this is different. If you act as a doctor, or if you act as a policeman, you can give different answers. Consider this stupid example. If you read on a newspaper that an old lady has been hit by for a robbery and someone has stolen the pocket, okay? And she fell down and she has broken the leg. If you talk with the policeman, the most important thing is the crime. If you talk the same thing with the doctor, the most important thing is that the lady has a broken leg. Okay, the same text, but can be seen with a different point of view. If you are a doctor, the important thing is that you have a broken leg. If you have a policeman, the important thing is someone has stolen your pocket. Okay, silly example, but this is very relevant and useful to explain that, first of all, when you write a prompt, ask the system to act as someone. Okay, imagine who will be in front of you analyzing your CV. Ask the system to be like that person. Specify the language. Of course, define the tone, the style, the level of formality. Okay. When you will perform an interview, you are not talking with a friend of yours. Okay. You can't use your slang. You must use a different level of formality or language or whatever. The same in an agent or in a prompt. So specify to use a professional and formal language, to be clear and concise, to be use a language to be result oriented. The objective for you is get the result, and so on. Examples: use a professional, clear and concise tone. Use a formal but not overlying rigid style, and so on. Okay, it's up to you on how to write these specific things. So in every prompt, use the hints number 1, number 2, number 3. 4 is more information leads to better output. Be very expansive. Expand your idea. Use a lot of things to describe better what you want or who you are. Describe completely in a very detailed way the CV text, the job description, the target sector. I'm applying to this kind of company, so the terms can be different, and so on. Specify your desired output. I want to write to receive a CV with bullet points, with tables, with use the European CV format or whatever. It's not just important I want a Word document or PDF document, but the format, again, on the content of the CV. Other point, optimize for ATS and keywords. So integrate keywords from the job description naturally. Okay, you want to add your keyword, specific keywords, your skills and so on, converting your skill, converting your capabilities and so on, in order to be very attractive for this specific job description. And at the end of this talk, we'll talk about also if this is ethical or not, but this is another question. Avoid very simple phrases like improve everything. This is not a task, okay? Because generative AI must receive very clear prompt. So instead of saying improve something or improve everything, you must ask improve experience description, highlight results with numbers or whatever. So maybe you can write multiple prompts in order to get the final results. In fact, consider that a prompt is not a one-shot activity. You must iterate, and refine. So you get a result, ask, improve this, get another result, change this. So it's a way of talking to the system to do simple tasks. In this way, generative AI can assist you in the best way. I don't know if you ever use the version of, for instance, ChatGPT Canvas. You know Canvas? Canvas is a way to use ChatGPT by which instead of receiving a final result of the document is interactive, a sort of Word, you know, Microsoft Word, like a Word document, and then you have your answer. You can highlight a single sentence and can ask to the system, to ChatGPT, to change only that sentence. So you don't have to ask to rewrite everything. You highlight something and you ask to change this, maybe increasing the description, maybe changing this and this and this. So in this way, you can be very precise in modifying your final results. In which way? Iterating. So asking this, change this and this and this. So this maybe is a sort of structured prompt. Maybe you can start using this. So first of all, ask to the system to act as a senior recruiter in this sector. Again, if you apply for finance, it's different to applying for mechanical companies or environmental companies or whatever. Use professional or format or whatever you decided, languages. Tell the objective. So optimize for the system of the HR company, so ITS, improve and this and this. Which are your requirements? Use bullet points, integrate keywords, remove generic phrases, and so on. Place also your CV and the description. Then again, you will find not the final result, but something partial. Then interact. At the end, you will be satisfied on the results. Any questions on this? Have you ever thought about these points? Writing a prompt? So you start writing a sentence and generative AI can do the magic. No, okay. Maybe if you have time and want, maybe look over internet about prompt engineering techniques. It will help you in writing the right prompt, because prompt is not a single and easy sentence to ask something to generative AI, but you must specify better who you are, what you want, and many other things. This is a very simple list items of how you can improve your prompts. Any question again? So a good prompt must be goal-oriented. So ask what you want. Don't do what you want by yourself. Don't let the generative AI be completely free to do something. Okay? He's not a friend of yours. He or she can act only if you ask something very specific. Role-driven, of course, clear about language, rich in context, focused on output structure, and be interactive. So don't ask, fix my CV or improve my CV, and you can do the magic. You must ask specific things. This is from my point of view, the common mistakes that you can do in not thinking before writing the prompt or using generative AI for your CVs. When generative AI will send you the final CV, don't cut and copy and paste directly the CVs. Read it. see if everything is exactly what you want. Just copy and pasting is not the best way. Consider that, from my point of view, using generative AI is a way to write something not starting from scratch, from an empty page, but getting some hints, pre-worked things. So starting from that, you can improve using yourself. Instead, starting off on an empty page, you can start from something already written. CV too generic are almost equal. So many AI outputs can lost in uniqueness. Okay, the important thing is you must be chosen because you are unique for that company, not because you are one of 1,000. Okay. Another thing is don't think that your CV is for everything. For every kind of job description, you must write different CVs using the right keyword, highlighting your specific skills, hard and soft, and so ever. So this is not a generic tool, like, I don't know to say in English. In Italian, we say coltellino svizzero. So it's a Swiss tools that has inside everything, the knife, the fork, a wrench, and whatever. This is not possible to do this with a CV. If you write too perfect CVs, it's not credible. On the other side, you have people, system, and then people who has the role to write your CVs. If they see that this is perfect, no mistakes, or written in the same way as hundreds or thousands of other CVs, okay, they say, okay, this is not a real CV. This is a CV written by AI. I'm not interested in this person, not in the CV, but in the person who is writing something without using it, the brain. Most important thing is what you write in the CV, you must be absolutely convinced that this is true. Because if you write something in the CV, during the interview, you must confirm that what you have written is real. Because if you can write, okay, I can pilot planes, and maybe it's not true. When you are in front of the recruiter, they say, okay, you are able to pilot planes. Tell me about how to talk with the control tower of an airport. Okay, they put you in difficulties. Okay, so use AI as a copilot, not something that could replace you in writing a CV. Customize the output. Write everything in the output from yourself. Verify that all the information are real, not invented. Consider that generative AI has another problem, that is hallucination. So they can invent something. It's like a friend of mine that when you ask him something, he has always the answer, even if it's not true. Okay? Generative AI is exactly the same way. So write and verify that all information are true. Consider the last point, that if you can't explain the things you have written in the CV, don't put in the CV. Because when you are in front of the interviewer, it's a big problem. Another sample, then I try to speed up. We have talking about cover letters. This is a simple prompt on how to write a very effective cover letters. Maybe you can write the slide in the next few days. How to prepare an interview. Okay, and you can ask something like, simulate an interview with the role of something. Ask me 10 difficult questions. Rate my answers and suggest improvement. You can use these techniques also for your exams. If you use tools, free tools, like for instance, Google Notebook LM, I don't know if you ever used the Notebook LM by Google. Okay, it's a technical point of view, is a RAG, a reg system. You can upload your lessons for that specific exam and then ask, based only on these lessons, simulate an exam. Ask me 10 different questions, maybe more on these topics, very difficult questions, rate my answers, okay? You can use the same techniques for your exams. Consider that you can use also the STAR method. STAR methods is, you must set the scene. STAR are the initial letters of these words. Describe the challenges, explain exactly what you did in the past or in this specific situation, and share the outcomes. So I work in this project, I learned this, I used this, and so on and on. Voice simulation. Of many of the LLM have also the voice function. So you can, instead of writing something, you can really practicing speaking. So in this way, you can also improve your English or how to behave and to answer to specific question, avoiding to be stressed, okay, and anxious or whatever. So you can use AI agents. Today we have talked about also agents. Go and see some documentation on ChatGPT agents or Gem on Gemini by Google or by Microsoft with agent copilots and so on. So here we can find some other prompt. I can try to speed up. Motivation letter. This is what I was talking few moments ago. If you apply to a master degree abroad, of course, the most important thing is not only your CVs, but your motivation letter. Maybe you are the best students in the world, but if you don't have a good motivation letter, maybe you are not eligible for being accepted to a different university. So use generative AI to improve or to write the first version of the motivation letter. I must stress the fact that this is just the first version. It's not the final version. The final version is starting from the version that generative AI has produced it to you, and then when you write your personal things, you modify, you correct, you improve, and so on. Only when the letter is yours, not something written by someone else or something else. A motivation letter, this is my suggestion, what is important to be found inside a motivation letter. And some examples of prompts, okay? Other side of the coin, how companies are using AI in recruitment. Very quick. They use usually ATS. The ATS I showed you before, that is the system used by the HR department. So your CV is entered and uploaded in ATS system, is read by an algorithm, transformed into structured data, so extracted your skills, your capabilities, and so on, compared with the job description. So this is a very important thing, comparing what they are looking for, and then is assigned a score. If the threshold, if your score is better than the threshold they have decided, at this point, you will be contacted by a human, okay? Of course, the difference is if you are applying to a very small company. If the small company, of course, maybe they are not using automatic system. But if you apply to a big company, of course, this is the process by which your CV is read and you are chosen or not. So the company use ATS, applicant tracking system, automatic CV screening, candidate position matching. So I read your CV, I read the job description. Is it there is some matches between or not, algorithm ranking, and maybe video analysis if they ask you for a video. So essentially, you are not only evaluated for who you are, but also on how the system interprets you. So try to be very precise in writing your CV. Key point, the system usually work on patterns, on keywords, standard structured, and so on. So you must adapt your CV to the job position with the right context, with the right keywords, being original and not so creative in languages, because they will not, this system will not appreciate this. Okay, adapting your CV to the final job description is not hacking or not cheating. It's only using the best way the communication between the system, between your CV and the system final. For me, is like at the beginning of the internet, when only Google was the search engine. Many sites, many companies had to put specific keywords inside their text, even if they weren't true, just because in this way Google brought you at the beginning of the search. So it's not again cheating, but using the keywords to be the first one. So use the right keywords. Try to call them at the same way they are calling in the job description, and so on. These are the technology. I can try to speed up because we have only few minutes. Okay. Talking about ethics in job hunting, using AI in job hunting. I have few questions. Maybe we can't answer to everyone, but maybe we can start from the first one. I am improving something that's already mine, or I'm building something that does not represent me. Okay, is clear? So this question. The final CV is really me, or something augmented or not real? If I were asked to explain every single line of my CV, can I do it? As the content is really reflecting who I am, or just sound best? Okay, and many other questions like this. So the question is, should we use AI for improving my CV or not? From my point of view, if we use to improve, we need to better clarify what is done and so on. Absolutely yes. If I use to add skills that I don't have, or to describe something that I'm not, this is not the best use of this kind of tools. From a technical point of view, because maybe during the interview I will be in a difficulty, and also from ethical point of view. I don't want to have an avatar. I want that the CV represents myself, not my avatar, okay? So in the first case, if you use as to clarify better what you have done, amplify your reality. In the second case, create a fiction, and this will damage you during the interview. So from my point of view, an acceptable use of generative AI to help you in writing your CV and to finding a job is to improve the clarity and the form, translating experience into skills, and adapt the CV to a specific position. So what is not so ethical from my point of view, is invent experiences, so essentially cheating, inflate skills that you don't have, or generate false content. So again, I've already talked about this, but if you can't defend verbally in interview, don't put in your CV. Few things. Consider also that algorithms learn from data, and data tells the story of the past. So AI can have some risk. For instance, the example of Amazon that a few years ago deployed an AI-based recruiting system, but at the end of this experience, they understood and realized that it systematically penalized women. Not because they wanted to do that, but just because the documents they used were lack of women position. Like, for instance, AI at the beginning. Computer vision, when, you know, maybe all of your mobile phones now have a face recognition. At the beginning, they had to train the system in US, and they used a lot of white people. So it was very difficult for this kind of system to recognize a face of a young black man. Not because they were racist, but just because they use a lot of images of white people. So then AI does not eliminate bias, but can amplify it. So be carefully. Try to be completely transparent when you apply, otherwise you are rejected, at least from my point of view. Consider that, at least in Italy, I don't know in the rest of the Europe, it's not possible to choose a candidate or reject a candidate just using AI. This is illegal, at least in Italy. I don't know in the rest of Europe, but I think that could be exactly the same. So at the beginning, the AI can be used on choose the best candidate, and then with the human interaction, with the HR manager, will pick the best of them by interview and so on. But if you are not in the first list, you can't be chosen as the best candidate because you are removed from the first list. So the very important thing is to have a very good CVs that could be chosen by AI as one-off. Privacy, you know, consider that your CV will be put in maybe in the cloud, maybe in some automatic system and so on. So in your CV, there's not only your name or your address or whatever, but also your experiences, your aspiration, ambition, dreams, your courses, and so on. So be careful on where you are uploading your CVs. Do not send everyone or everywhere your CVs, but use only certified system, or be sure that you are sending your CV to the right company, to the right person, not to someone will get information and maybe use in a bad way this kind of information. But things, don't be perfect. Don't write perfect CV, otherwise you will be one of the 1,000. Okay, use the way to be not similar to everyone else, not be standardized. So for this reason, I do suggest that when you get a CV from AI, write something personally, add things, modify, make your CV completely personal. So AI can be considered neither good or bad, depends on how you use it. My idea is that exactly the way we use a gun. A rifle, a gun can be used for hunting, and so then for eating and survive. But a gun can be also used to kill a person. This is the bad way to use a gun. It depends on how to use it. So, is evil or not? Again, the same of AI. So it can help you in better express yourself, helping you improving your CV and whatever. But consider that you must be very careful on putting your real things, adding personal things, and so on. So the last thing is that the important thing is consistency between what you declare and what you are able to demonstrate is absolutely the most important thing. So use AI to improve, not to lie, customize, check everything, maintain authenticity. The company hopefully avoid bias, use transparency, and so on. Ethical use, last slide is use AI to clarify, not to fake. Never claims skill you don't have. Check every output. Protect your personal data and keep final responsibility in what you submit. Question? I don't know if you have ever thought to use AI to write your CV or to improve your CV, but maybe I hope that this could give you some idea or some suggestion. Yes, please. How much? Yes and no, for a simple reason. Now AI has reached very good quality. So the same problem is when you get a degree, is your thesis written by you or by AI? At the university, we don't have a very specific tools to understand this. We have some tools, but it's not so perfect, again, because the AI can be has been improved a lot in the last few years. Of course, from my point of view, as I teach machine learning and so on, if I read a program written by AI or written by students, it is very simple to understand. For a CV, of course, a manager is a manager, so he has experience. He or she has experience, so maybe can individuate or focus few things that can help he or him her to understand if this is written by you or from AI. But the most important thing is after submitting a CV, you have an interview. So during the interview, the manager will understand absolutely if what you have proposed in your CV is real or not. So then, at the beginning, it's not possible, but when you have the interview, absolutely yes. What is the point? Company doesn't want that you don't use AI. Companies just want that your CV is real and touch all the points of the job description. And then maybe your question is like to play a chess game between two computers. Who wins? I don't know. it's up to you. I mean, I think that AI is a wonderful thing if you are lazy. I don't want to do this and this. I make something will do for me. And this is important thing, because AI, I do believe that has been studied and deployed just for this, on how to use how many computers and so on. Okay, I do believe that we can stop the invention, the progression, or whatever. So I use it. This is just my point of view, but. Consider that, talking about the impact, I don't know how many minutes have you. We need to cut, okay? Last thing, consider that at the beginning, of course, the usage of computers, powers, and so on was used for training a system. Now it is few. So then the algorithm is improving, is getting faster and faster. The GPU are faster, so maybe now to build a new generative AI model is cheaper from a lot of point of view, also from the point of wasting environmental or using powers and whatsoever. So going ahead, it will be simpler and simpler to use generative AI, with also the impact for the green environment. Last thing, last one, because we have to stop. Yeah, I understand. I can close the session with this question. Is really useful to use your car to reach the bookshop and to buy your newspaper every day, driving for 200 meters? Question mark. Or maybe if you walk or you go by bike, a bicycle is better for you, for the environment, for everything else? Question mark. The answer is to you. Thank you.
Just to remind you, there's no breaks. If you are attending also the following workshop, please stay in the room. Thanks.